Hello lovely viewers, you are most welcome to our channel Poetry Online. In this lesson, we shall be discussing A Plea for Mercy by Kwesi Brew. Kindly subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to get updates on all our new videos. Once again, let us assure you of a very interesting discussion. Get ready for this lesson. A Plea for Mercy is a poem written by Kwesi Brew. He was born in 1928 at Cape Coast in Ghana. He was educated in various towns in Ghana and at the University of Ghana, Legon. He won a poetry competition organized by the British Council. He joined the Administrative Service of Ghana in 1953 and has since worked in various places and in varied capacities. His poems reflect a deep understanding and appreciation of the African culture and rich heritage. He is one of Africa's best poets, and his poem, A Plea for Mercy, is one of his famous poems. The poem has been interpreted by different schools of thought in diverse ways. Well, in this video, we will present to you the various interpretations of the poem that has been advanced so far. The poem, A Plea for Mercy, clearly depicts the beauty of literature, as different scholars are able to correctly interpret the poem differently in a logical and factual manner. Let's start our analysis from the title of the poem, A Plea for Mercy. It is true that the title quickly informs readers that someone or a group of people are begging for pardon or mercy. But the simple question is, who is pleading for whose pardon? Is it a group of worshippers who have gone to a deity to plead for mercy? Or the poem is a satire aimed at ridiculing the master-servant relationship that exists between Africans and the Europeans? Or the poem portrays a plea of a wandering prodigal son who has returned to the African society after rejecting it in the pursuit of European culture to be readmitted and accepted into the traditional home? Well, all these questions will be answered when we start a detailed analysis of the lines contained in the poem. Let's get started. We have come to your shrine to worship. We, the sons of the land. The naked cowherd had brought the cows safely home. The poet opens the poem by informing readers that he and his people have come face to face to their object of worship. The use of the word shrine invokes the presence of a deity at whose abode or whose home the sons of the land have come to worship. However, with today's visit, they are here not to sing praises or for thanksgiving. No, they are here to plead for mercy. Another school of thought believe that the opening lines of the poem reveals the master-servant relationship that goes on between the Africans and the Europeans during the colonial era. Until the Second World War, Africans saw Europeans as superior race and an embodiment of God or a deity. Therefore, the colonialists or colonial masters have been elevated to the position of a deity who is worshipped by the people. Another school of thought believes that the images of the opening line portrays that of a prodigal son who, after many years of wandering away from the African society, has finally returned home to be readmitted into the tradition that he has apparently rejected. They are now face to face to their object of worship in the shrine of their ancestors, pleading for acceptance and forgiveness, and stands silent with his bamboo flute, wiping the rain from his brow, as the bird brood in their nest, waiting the dawn with unsung melodies. The poet then proceeds to present series of melancholic lines, leaving the readers with no other option than to feel the sadness and pity of the people. These lines gives the setting of the poem away. One can say with all certainty that the setting of the poem is that of a typical village, considering the choice of words and images we come across. The poet equally talks about bringing the cows safely home. This should be a thing of joy, being able to bring the cows safely home despite their naked state. However, we find a situational irony inasmuch as the poet and his people have done well by bringing the cows safely home. They now stand silently with their babu flutes. A flute is an African musical instrument which is used to play accompaniment for dirges in the Ghanaian society. It is worth noting that the flute invokes sadness, hence, the poet and his people are not entertained with the sound of the flute, or they are not playing or entertaining themselves with the babu flute. No, they stand silently despite their ability to bring the cow safely home. Another school of thought believes that these lines are a satire aimed at ridiculing the African who gave way for colonialism or who sat down to be colonized by the Europeans. They argue that the African continent is blessed beyond measure. Hence, Africans are expected to be rich, comfortable, and a master of their own. But what do we see? They sat down and paved way for the Europeans to colonize them. Just like the images of the poem we come across suggest sadness, poverty, servitude, and pity, the same way Africans have become after colonization. They have all the resources. They will exploit them for the colonial masters and then will stand silently doing nothing. Africans have become laborers, cowherds, and beggars. The persona does not see why the sons of the land should become beggars and laborers. He equally doesn't understand why the master should allow the servant to suffer and tremble with sadness. This line gives a vivid picture of the cowherd. In spite of his nakedness, he is able to bring the cow safely home. The poet, and for that matter Africans, stand helpless with their babu flutes with unsung melodies. The shadows crowd on the shore, pressing their lips against the bosom of the sea. The peasants home from their labors sit by the log fire, telling tales of long ago. In the previous lines, the poet takes another form of imagery, using the bird. This bird, we are told, stays brooding in their nest with unsung melodies while they wait the dawn. Here, another school of thought believe that the image of the bird brings in mind freedom. However, the bird, awaiting the dawn of unsung melodies, becomes a source of worry to the persona. To this effect, Africans shouldn't be helpless. They could do something, or they should have done something about their sorry state, rather than waiting the dawn for unsung melodies. For no one will help you if you don't help yourself. This is a bird that has wings to fly, yet it is waiting for the dawn with unsung melodies. How ridiculous this is. Here, the poet indirectly informs us that the events in the poem take place in the night, and one can say that the poem was written in the night, a period of darkness. Darkness in itself is a time of horror and misery. The images of fire and the rain in line 6 present images of sadness, pity, and dejection. We are reminded here again that the poet is in the presence of a deity or the colonial masters. He relates the image of the cowherd and the peasant and how dejected they feel. Therefore, they plead unheeded to the deity or colonial masters. Here, the title of the poem reveals itself to us. One can say it is appropriate for the subject matter being discussed. Why should we, the sons of the land, plead unheeded before your shrine, when our hearts are full of songs and our lips tremble with sadness? In these lines, the poet begins to summarize the pathetic situation of the people by saying that their hearts are full of songs, but they cannot muster the courage to sing all those beautiful songs since their lips tremble with sadness. Here, the insensitivity of the master is shown in the way their pleas remain unheeded. Another school of thought believes that the poem tries to portray the dilemma of the modern Africa, who, after wandering away and rejecting the African culture and the pursuit of European culture, only to find out that he has lost touch with his own tradition. The persona in this poem is saying to their deity that they acknowledge the fact that they have been away for too long and have come too late. Nonetheless, they are still sons of the land and deserve to be listened to. They submit themselves soberly before their deity with total repentance. In spite of this concerted effort, there is no indication that they have been heard or forgiven by the deity. The little firefly vies with the stars, the log fire with the sun, the water in the calabash with the mighty volta. But we have come in tattered penury, begging at the door of the master. This line gives us an impression of some sort of competition. Here, we can say that there can't be any competition in the things being mentioned in the poem, because there is a vast and sharp difference between them. Imagine the firefly competing with the stars in terms of brightness. This is impossible because the stars shine brighter than the firefly. The log fire competing with the sun for brightness. This is equally impossible because the sun shines brighter than a log fire. Also, the water in the calabash competing with the mighty Volta. Volta is a river in Ghana, a mighty river. Therefore, the poet is comparing the water in a calabash to that of the mighty Volta. Here, all that kwesi brew wants to reveal is that Africans are more powerful than they think, and hence they can do something about their situation instead of being servants to colonial masters. Here again, the poet mocked Africans for their inability to rise against the dictates and humiliation of the colonial masters, but continues to brood on his servitude. The poet aims at encouraging the people of Africa to struggle, to free and emancipate themselves, instead of staying under the perpetual dominion and oppression of the master. Most people believe that this poem is a political satire, calling on the Africans to struggle against all forms of deprivation suffered in the hands of colonial masters. Therefore, a plea of mercy denounces all forms of exploitation, slavery, servitude, and unjust treatment on the African continent. Another school of thought believed that the use of the word master in this poem means colonial masters, because this was what Africans called the whites during the colonial era. Others, on the other hand, believe masters refers to the deity or refers to the supreme being God. Thanks for watching this video. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and share this video.